Allow me to introduce your glorious champions. The Fighting Avengers! The Unbreakable X-Men! The Amazing Guardians! The Knights of Doom! And...
All right, YouTube, what's going on? How's everybody doing? Hope you enjoyed the fourth. But listen, we already know the one team that's coming to Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, and that's Fantastic Four. So in this video, we're not even going to talk about that team coming because that's a given. That's automatic. They're going to be in the game. We just don't know when. But here's my take of 3 teams that not only need to be in the game, but will be very beneficial to be put in the game. Okay, one team that I think that should be added, or that I think that they're working on, and which will cook, it's probably the defenders. Now look, there's 2 different types of defenders. I mean, when you look at the current roster right now, you notice that Doctor Strange is not in the game. And Doctor Strange was one of the original members of the original Defenders. And the original Defenders consist of Doctor Strange, the Hulk, Submariner, who is Namor, and Silver Surfer. That team would be fire in this game because Namor has never been in a fighting game. Silver Surfer definitely never been in a fighting game. Doctor Strange was in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. The Hulk is already in the game. He's with the Avengers. So I think that where lies the problem. But Doctor Strange has got to be added in the game, and he should be with the Defenders because you notice most of the Defenders is not in this game. But then we have a conundrum. The problem is the MCU Defenders is totally different. They consist of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Power Fist. And I think they're going to add that version, or the current version of the Defenders. I started reading comics in the late 70s as a child. So that team, the new Defenders, is basically heroes for hire, with the exception of Colleen Wing, Misty Knight, and Shang-Chi. Those are members of the Heroes of Hire. So I think they're gonna, I would like them to add the old Defenders, members in this game, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. But the way that they're working with Marvel and Disney now, they're probably gonna add the new Defenders, which I'm cool with because my favorite duo is, since I was a kid, was Luke Cage, Power Man, and Iron Fist. So I mess with it. A team they could add is X-Force. Well, but you can do it 2 ways when you add X-Force. You can add the X-Force from the 90s, the current X-Force, or hear me out, because they're not in the game, you can add the original X-Men as X-Force. Okay, we got Danger, the Danger Room, and a robot. Okay, and we have Magic, who's part of the New Mutants. She's on the X-Men team. And then we have Wolverine and Storm. Okay, that's cool. That's fine and good because everybody loves Wolverine and Storm in a versus fighting game. Okay, we like that. But what you don't see is the original X-Men. Who we don't see? We don't see Cyclops, Scott Summers. We don't see Marvel Girl, aka Phoenix, aka Jean Grey. We don't see Beast, we don't see Iceman, and we don't see Archangel. Yes, that's 5 members, but if you break it down, and one of those members could be on another team that that I'll mention later. But I mean, you pretty much can, Jean Grey and Cyclops is on the team, all right, and then you can switch between Beast, Iceman, and Angel. We don't have an ice user in the game. We got a fire user in the game, but we don't have an ice user in the game. So there you go. And like I said, Fantastic Four is coming. So there's going to be Human Torch, but you need an ice user in the game. So the original X-Men as X-Force team would be beautiful. Teams, well, here's my honors mention. Okay, my honors mention teams that I think that, that won't show up. Maybe, but I mean, you got the Humans. I mean, a lot of people don't know about the Humans. Black Bolt is amazing. Medusa would be perfect for a game. This Black Bolt's wife, she would be perfect with her hair. She would be perfect in this game. And then after that, and then there's Crystal. Crystal used to be a main focal point in Marvel Comics back in the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, she was married to Quicksilver, Magneto's son, and she was part of the Avengers. She was part of the Inhumans. She was like the diplomat between the Inhumans and Avengers back in the day. And then all of a sudden she fell off. She wasn't important anymore. So it would be good to bring her back. But other than that, I don't know who else in the Inhumans. They're going to bring Lockjaw, the goddamn big-ass dog who could teleport people. I don't know. I really wasn't following Inhumans like that back in the day. I thought they was boring. The only people I liked was Medusa and Black Bolt. Then you could bring in the Eternals, and let me tell you something. I never followed the Eternals in the comic books, and I did see that movie for the MCU, and I finally saw what their powers was, and I thought it was stupid. I watched it just for my support for the Marvel Universe, but other than that, I never liked the Eternals. But I could see them added, Icarus, the Speedster. It is the only Eternals that I followed was Circe. I mean, that's because she was an Avenger, and that's because she loved and fell in love with Black Knight. But other than that, I really didn't follow the Eternals. I thought they were stupid. Their powers were stupid. The don't get me started. Another team is Masters of Evil. You got to bring Baron Zemo in the game. You could bring him in the game. I don't know. One team that would come, but a lot of people would not even know. But it would be perfect for them because there was 4 of them. Is the Wrecking Crew. If the Wrecking Crew came, they were. They were. How can I say? They were minions. They were for hire. They were like the antagonist heroes villains for hire, if you should say so. They would always hire out their parts. You had Absorption Man. You had they had certain tools or powers from tools that was like from like the demolition things that gave them super strength for this and that. One of the members, it was a black guy. I forgot his name, but he was very, very smart. But he was a bad guy. I forgot why he was a villain, but he was part of the Wrecking Crew. I enjoyed the Wrecking Crew because they wrecked when they was in the comics, and when they was on the strips, they was wrecking stuff, but they weren't as powerful or strong enough to beat the X-Men, the Avengers, Thor. Thor used to beat the snot out of them every time. And Spider-Man used to beat the snot out of them. I mean, they were jabronis in the comic book, in the Marvel comics. They were jabronis. But, if somebody until they got the power cosmic. Once they got the power cosmic, it was hard to deal with. But other than that, there was what other teams? The Runaways, the Young Avengers. Oh, one team they could add? Oh my God. They could add the New Warriors. The New Warriors, but they won't, but they could. New Warriors can consist of, Night Thrasher, aka young black Bruce Wayne of Marvel Comics. They can add, if they couldn't get Namor, they could add Namorita, his cousin. Of course, Nova. You can add Nova. And then the 4th member, would be real cool? Speedball. Putting Speedball in a game, oh my God, Speedball, he'd be just like Blanka, but on crack. Speedball would be amazing, as long as they don't add his alter ego Penance. I hated Penance. I understand why he did and became Penance in the comic books, but please don't bring Penance. Penance is so emo. But Speedball would be fun, and this is the only time I would really like Speedball. I mean, I tolerate him in the comics, but he was just Speedball. Basically, in the comics was Spider-Man, but just goofier and annoying and everywhere and irritating. It's just like so, but he'd be good in the fighting game. And this team, the last team that I think they're working on, or they're cooking, or they're trying to add to the game, we need another villain team. We need another villain team. We really, really do. And here's where it gets sticky. Okay? What villain team you have? You can't really put the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants in the game because Magneto's in the game already, and he's the leader of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. I mean, you could put the Hellfire Club, but who you gonna put in the Hellfire Club? I mean, you gonna put Emma. Emma's haven't been a villain in a long time. You could put the Black Queen. You could put Sebastian Shaw, in the game. But I don't think they're gonna do that. And then, I mean, the obvious choice, obvious choice to put in the game is the Sinister Six, but it's a 4-man team. So it's going to be what, the Sinister Four, and plus Green Goblins are already in the Knights of Doom. So that leaves just 2 teams that I think, two naturally 4-man teams that's already in the comics, and a lot of people already know about it, or they're going to know about it due to X-Men 97. And that's none other than the Horsemen of Apocalypse. There's 4 of them. They're the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. You know, that way you can, well, Apocalypse is not really the leader of the, I mean, he's the leader of the 4 Horsemen, but the 4 Horsemen is just his cronies, his minions. So, and then that way you could put Gambit, you could put Archangel, or you could put the new 4 Horsemen, which I don't know, but you could put the Horsemen in. That'd be cool. Or since a lot of people who don't read comic books follow the MCU, you could put the Black Order. I mean, you got they were in Endgame and Infinity Gauntlet, so you could put them in the game. So that'll be cool. But I think the last team has to be another villain team. You just can't have one villain in the game, you know, in one villain team. Or hear me out. You have the new main bad guy and his cast to be the next villain team. We don't even know what the new villain game, the new main bad villain, what's his name? You know, we'll see. But that's what I've been thinking, and that's who I think should be added to the game. But it is what it is. This was just the teams, you know what I'm saying? This was just the teams. We still on bring Nightcrawler to the game. I ain't forgot. Nightcrawler needs to be in this game. He needs to be in Marvel Rivals. He needs to be in Tokon Fighting Souls. Don't get it twisted. Nightcrawler needs to be in this game.